Bruchim Haboim, welcome everyone to a special edition of All Parsha on Parshas Sisa, the Chasam Sofer on Parshas Sisa. I'm very excited to share with you an amazing approach of the Chasam Sofer on the Chet HaEgel. The Chasam Sofer is actually found in Parshas Bahar, on Chasam Sofer al Torah, page Ayin Ches, and this is an astounding presentation. It's based on the comments of the great Sefer Choves Havavos in Shar HaTshuva Parak Ches. Just to give you a little glimpse of the greatness of the Choves Havavos and the Chasam Sofer's connection to the Choves Havavos, the official biography of the Choves Havavos, the Chod HaMeshulash, brings that the Chasam Sofer started off every single shiur that he gave with a teaching from Choves Havavos, and kemat, practically all the personal conduct of the Chasam Sofer came from the Sefer Choves Havavos. Choves Havavos makes a statement that sometimes a sin could be more beneficial for a person, sometimes an avera can be more helpful than all the mitzvahs a person did their whole life, and sometimes a mitzvah could be more harmful to a person than all their averos. Hafla v'fela. It's a staggering comment. How so? Says the Choves Havavos, let me explain. A tzaddik once said to his Talmud, if you would be a perfect tzaddik and never sinned, then I would be afraid of something worse than a sin. So what's worse than a sin? Worse than a sin is arrogance, is gaiva. Says the Choves Havavos, this is the meaning of the Gemara in Brachas, Daf Lamed Dalet Amud Beis, b'makom shabali tshuva oimdim, tzadikim gemurim ein oimdim. How do we understand this? How could a Baal Tshuva be greater than a perfect tzaddik? And the answer, says the Choves Havavos, someone who never did an avera is always in danger of gaiva, of arrogance, but someone who did an avera and places the sin before him always, and constantly asks Hashem for forgiveness, and is ashamed of his avera, and is humbled from his sin, is greater than a tzaddik, because the perfect tzaddik is in danger of arrogance. Well, says the Chasam Sofer, based on this Choves Havavos, we can understand an insight into the sin of the golden calf. The Chet HaEgel, of course, goes down as one of the most severe sins in history. Chazal say on the pasuk of V'yayim pakti ufakadati aleichem, that every time Hashem punishes the Jewish people, there's always a little bit, there's some punishment for the Chet HaEgel. Had it not been for the Chet HaEgel, man would have lived forever. There would have been no illness. Life would have reverted back to the way the world was before the sin of Adam HaRishon. And yet the Gemara says in Avodah Zarah, Daf Dalet Amud Beis, Rabbi Yehuda ben Levi, the only reason the Jewish people did the sin is litein pischain pel lebalei tshuva. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rashbi lo'hayu Yisrael ru'uyin lo'isei ma'isa. Klal Yisrael were not worthy, they were not fit, were not capable really of doing that sin. Ela lahayros tshuva l'rabim. It was to instruct that the tzibur could do tshuva. Actually, the Gemara says that on the exalted and lofty level the Jewish people are on, we never would have succumbed to that sin. So why did we do it? Rashi says we were shalitim b'yitzram, we were giborim. This is not something that we should have been tempted by, and Hashem allowed us to sin, says Rashi, gezeras melech. It was the decree of the king. It was a heavenly decree. Hashem wanted it to happen. Why? To teach Klal Yisrael that you could do tshuva for the worst sin. But was it worth it? Was it worth allowing the Jewish people to fall into this calamity, into a sin of such magnitude? Says the Chasam Sofer, yes, it was worth it. Says the Chasam Sofer, the Chet HaEgel bestowed greatness of character on the Jewish people. The Jews were flying high. They had experienced the greatest spiritual encounters. At the Yam Suf, they pointed to the Shechina, Zakeli v'Yanveyu. They saw God with their own eyes. They heard Hashem speak at Har Sinai, Koilo Subrakim. They reached the pinnacle, and now they were in grave danger. They were in danger of succumbing to something worse than sin. What's worse than sin? Arrogance! So what did Hashem do? He said, as bad as the golden calf is, it beats the alternative. It beats Gaiva. The results of Gaiva, V'ram levavecha v'shachachta es Hashem. Arrogance causes a person to forget Hashem completely. Says the Chasam Sofer, that's why Hashem allowed it to happen. Because as high as they were, that's why they needed a dose of humility. Says the Chasam Sofer, the pasuk says in Malachi about Aaron, Torah's emes hoisa b'fiu. The Torah of truth was in his mouth. Then what? What other type of Torah is there? What does it mean, Torah's emes? Says the Chasam Sofer, the Gemara says in Chulin Daf Peites, Loi meiru bechem mikol ha'amim chashak Hashem bechem. That not because of your greatness does Hashem desire you. You know why I love you, says Hashem? Because when I give you greatness, you humble yourself. I gave greatness to Abraham. He said, Va'anoichi afar va'efer. I am dust and ashes. I gave greatness to Moshe and Aaron. They said, V'nachnu ma, what are we? I gave greatness to David. He said, Va'anoichi tailas, I'm a worm. But when I gave Gedula to Nimrod, he said, Hava nivna ir. Says the Chasam Sofer, these three statements, Efer, Ma, Tailas, of Abraham, of Moshe and Aaron, of David respectively, spell out emes. Torah's emes hoisabafiu. Aaron had the Torah of truth in his mouth. He had the Torah of humility. That's why he made the Egal. Because had we not made the Egal, we would have been in danger of something worse than the Egal. Gaiva. Sometimes a sin is more beneficial than all of one's mitzvahs. And sometimes a mitzvah could be more harmful than all of one's averos. And this is the greatness. This is the great gift and benefit of character that was bestowed upon the Jewish people through the Chet HaEgal. So this is the Chasam Sofer's offering, Parshas Bahar, page Ayin Ches. Wishing everyone a wonderful Shabbos, bracha v'hatzlacha.